Greetings YouTube. Today I'm going to review the 3.5 D&D environmental book, Sandstorm. This was another request. People seem to like the environmental books. They are pretty good. And again, I'm going to use the table of contents to run down the information as I see it. First chapter, again, is the environmental information about the wastes in general, both scrub brush, full-flown deserts, everything in between. The kind of things that you're going to find both like in the Sahara and the Mojave, the Gobi, both real-world environmental situations and, of course, magical things that you can't find in the real world. All of it very useful, and the information about like heat dangers and dehydration and stuff like that is quite good. Next we have races, and the first race is the Stratus, which are essentially their version of a desert-specific human. No bonus or minus to your stats. That's kind of the human analog to that. But this is a really nice race. It's very flavorful. Because these people don't live on the sand. They live in the sand. They can swim through sand and dust and things like that just as easily as you and I walk across the room. Their bodies can actually produce light, which they use to help them navigate their way through the medium they're traveling through. And they're of course very resistant to heat, but vulnerable to water. They begin to drown as soon as they get immersed, even though they're not. Their heads are not immersed because their body just starts sucking it up, which I thought was kind of clever. I kind of like them. And we have the Bucas, and the Bucas are kind of a goblinoid, medium-sized race that are like tough as tanned leather kind of people. Just they live on the surface. They're good at surviving and finding water, at making ends meet in places that most people can't live. I think it would be interesting to have these two races in a symbiotic relationship, one dwelling beneath the sand, one dwelling on it. I think that would be kind of intriguing. Then we have some dwarven and elven and gnomish subspecies, as well as some half-orc and halflings, all of which have sort of variations on the theme of how they have adapted to the life in the desert. Then we have character classes, and they have a number of specific character traits, things you can trade off. You don't get one ability, but you get another ability because you're kind of customizing the character class to the desert. Like the wizard and the sorcerer get a slightly, they get another choice in a familiar. The ranger gets to swap out one type of ability for another because it's tailored to the desert environment, things like that, which I thought was quite good. And the druid adaptation is good because you can actually get the ability to change into a vermin form because the desert is full of spiders and scorpions and things like that. And I thought that was kind of cool. And of course you have a whole bunch of new feats, which not a real shocker. Every game has got to have its new feats, which is a prerequisite. One I really liked was the Rattlesnake Strike. It's a monk feat. You have to have unarmed strike and stunning fist. But if you sacrifice a stunning fist use for the day, it makes your punch venomous. I thought that was cool. Pardon me, I'm gonna itch. Then we have some touchstone feats, and these are feats which allow you to attune yourself to a location in the wastes. Ruins, holy sites, natural phenomena, things like that. And you get benefits based on that. And you have to go back and visit the site on a regular basis to keep the feat ability up and functioning. So it's kind of an interesting idea. I'm not really sure if I'm really psyched about that idea being tied to a spot like that. Then we have some prestige classes. The Ashword Dragoon, which is a very cool idea. It basically allows your character to ride this creature called an ashworm, which normally rides under the sand. But this prestige class allows you to ride it above the sand, and at 10th level you can ride it below the sand as well, which is kind of cool. It's very much geared towards a knight paladin kind of class. I thought that was kind of flavorful. I really kind of thought it was kind of cool. What else we got here? Sand Shaper is kind of interesting. It allows you to actually shape sand into different things for a minor sacrifice to your spell casting. Kind of an interesting idea there. I thought that was cool. Then we have some like very specific, like this scion of Temet Na, which is dedicated to a deity. The Scorpion Heritor, which is a kind of an evil. You're going to inherit the power of the scorpion. Take over the desert, and it's very much what the Mummy did in the movie The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, trying to take over the world from their desert stronghold. And Walker in the Waste, which is geared towards druids and rangers, really makes them one with the desert. And we have a bunch of magic stuff, some new psionic powers, even a few epic spells and some magic items. And a nice section of monsters. I quite liked some of the monsters they had in here. I just think that like for example, a were-crocodile under lycanthropes. That was just a very cool idea. And a number of them have a very Egyptian kind of theme, which is again a very appropriate kind of thing for the environment. Like for example, a Croco Sphinx. That was kind of cool, and a Kenna Sphinx, which is a jackal kind of based sphinx, which I thought was interesting, and a Thunderbird, which is also good. And for animals, you have a war camel, which makes a nice choice for fighters or a paladin in the desert environment. And the horned lizard is the option available to spellcasters if you'd like to have a desert-themed familiar. And again, this is really geared towards people who want to either have a campaign set in this desert or want to just dump their characters in there willingly or unwillingly and have them survive. And in that regard, I think it's a decent buy. I haven't checked the price. I'll check it before I post this, and I'll put how much I think it's available for. But I think it's a good book. I don't think it's as good as the Storm Rack, but it's still definitely a quality product. And anyone who wants to have a nice environmental range for their D&D game could do a lot worse.